We like to do these hackathons. And lately, we've been building a lot with generative AI. So we've been doing a lot of generative AI hackathons. But our hackathons have a little bit of a twist in that we bring together these A-teams from our network with enterprise advisors from Fortune 500 companies to solve real business problems. And that ultimately ends up creating some of the most magical, transformative things you've ever seen built in 48 hours. And so a few weeks ago, we had our latest hackathon with a lot of builders from here in Chicago. And we had over 10 teams competing, over 80 builders. And I'll tell you, I was absolutely blown away by what they were able to build. And I wish we could invite all of them to be here today, but we couldn't. So we had a first round of judging that narrowed it down to 4 finalists, 4 incredible teams that you're going to see compete here today to win our Generative AI Hackathon and a $3,000 grand prize. And you all are going to decide who wins by texting a vote. So have your phones handy. Please have data and reception. I don't think it'll cost you anything. And get ready to vote. And to help us along the way, here's how it's going to work. So each team is going to have 4 minutes to present. If they go over 4 minutes, I don't know what will happen. I'll probably just wander on stage and stand really uncomfortably close to them and just kind of peer pressure them into stopping. But we're also going to have an expert panel on stage. Think of them like our sharks in Shark Tank, but much nicer, like an emotionally supportive dolphin tank or something like that. That are enterprise AI leaders. They're going to help ask some clarifying questions on what these teams have built. So without further ado, I'm excited to introduce our panel here. That's going to come up and be our emotionally supportive dolphins. Our first emotionally supportive dolphin is my boss, our CEO, Rafael Uzan, founder and CEO of A.Team. Come on stage. Next, we have one of the greatest business and digital transformation leaders that I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with, Anu George. Next from CME Group, the Executive Director of Innovation and Strategy, David Wong. And finally, this is a cool job. Prashant from Allstate, their head of AI. Prashant, come on stage. All right, and now I am excited to welcome our first team, Christine and Linus from Get Mentor. Guys, take it away.
Thank you so much. All right, good afternoon, Chicago. My name's Christine. This is my technology lead, Linus, and we are very honored to be here today talking about a potential AI solution that we're looking to create in order to build a more sustainable and inclusive society. So before I begin, I just want to pose a question to the audience. What does your city mean to you? When I ask this question to my friends, it usually revolved around 3 themes. To be part of a larger community, to have a sense of my own identity, as well as the ability to be part of something greater. Unfortunately, in 2023, cities like Chicago are becoming overcrowded, with city residents becoming increasingly concerned about pollution, growing socioeconomic disparities, as well as some of the other social issues that we're facing. So my team, Mentor AI, has developed a solution to tackle some of those challenges from the root cause. We have created a prototype which we believe will create more sustainability and inclusivity in our society. We are combining the power of technology, and we are creating the world's first democratic platform where all city residents are able to actively engage in city decision-making process. In other words, citizens and residents like yourself are able to talk to your cities and implement the changes that you're looking for. In our model, we are considering several factors. For example, environmental concerns. We're looking to eliminate and reduce the amount of toxic material and harmful energy emission in building constructions. We're also looking to close social economic disparities. For example, by creating more reasonable cost thresholds to enhance affordability. We're also looking to revive neighborhoods that are prone to violence and other criminal activities with green commercial space. We're considering your health and well-being. For example, by creating smarter city designs to reduce unnecessary traffic noise that is negatively impacting your well-being and your kids' ability to learn and succeed in schools. In summary, we're hoping to combine the power of the people, the voice of the people, with generative AI so that we're able to create a more sustainable and inclusive society for all. So we would like to show a very quick demo to illustrate our product.
We evolved from a game-like map building app to a tool enabling residents to actively participate in city planning, taking into account local restrictions, environmental factors, and cultural nuances. This empowers civil engineers, urban planners, and residents alike to talk with their city, addressing its needs, contributing feedback, and even suggesting improvements to their neighborhoods. Through augmented reality, future projects can be visualized before construction begins, sparking community discussion and engagement. Our goal is to democratize city planning, involving all stakeholders and respecting our environmental context. Let's reshape our cities together.
Thank you very much.
Dolphins, 2 minutes of questions.
Does this kind of work? Come on. You know, I really loved your idea actually, because I think a lot of people come to live in cities for the economic and social opportunities, but now what you're doing is you're allowing them to live a healthy life, which is what they don't have to give up. Just love the idea very much. A question for you is, are you also engaging with like the mayors of cities and city councilors to help them in the decision-making process as they plan their cities of the future?
That is a great question. I think, we're taking guidance from United Nations sustainability goals. And one of our key partnerships would be with cities, like City of Chicago, City of San Francisco, City of Boston, where there's high civic engagement, potentially high adoption of AI, as well as concern for sustainability and inclusivity.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I don't know. One of the things I wanted to understand is, how did you get the idea, or where did you get it from? What was the inspiration?
To be honest with you, our inspiration came from The Matrix. Of course, in that particular franchise, there were some concerns and conflicts between humanity and sentient AI. But in our version of The Matrix, humanity's Matrix, we believe that we're able to reconcile those differences and allow sentient AI to work for humanity, for a better world.
One of the things I'm most excited about of Gen AI is the ability to just take an incredible amount of data, synthesize it, and distill it into decisions and actions, or insights and actions. Can you talk about the role that Gen AI is actually playing in your solution?
Do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so the key takeaway from this presentation is that this crunched data will allow me, you, and every citizen to just talk with the city. So you can give a suggestion that I would like to build a new house here with 10 floors, 10 stories height house, and the crunch data or the AI would just answer, it's not possible, sorry, the allowance is just 7 floors here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love the opportunity of being able to create cities that not just for their inhabitants, but actually with the citizens.
Yes.
That's just completely changed our relationship with cities. And being able to bring the smarts into this Like, sometimes you have those systems in place, but then that kind of no one looks at the input. So actually utilizing generative AI for engagement at scale
Yes.
is really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic job. You heard it here first. A vote for Get Mentor is a vote for humanity against the robots in the Matrix. That is a compelling pitch to me. And next up, we have, with my automate, Lee Stewards. Lee.
Hello. I made my own t-shirt. Okay. I need to be able to see. Sorry. Okay, so today we're introducing My Automate, which is a virtual AI-driven assistant for both mechanics and vehicle owners. We built this app because, well, quite frankly, I don't trust my mechanics. Last time I went to the mechanic, I was told by my burly mechanic that if I didn't take the services he offered, my car was going to blow. I leaned over the counter, grabbed his hand, and said, "There's no need to get hysterical, dear." So the 3 pain points we identified were vehicle owners often don't know much about their car. Owners lack a credible electronic record for their vehicle, or EHR. And small auto shops and hobbyist mechanics rely on tribal knowledge, where success relies on experience and networking. For this competition, we've added some features and addressed the entire repair lifecycle. And since small mechanic shops often don't have a dedicated service rep, we've reframed My Automate as a virtual assistant that facilitates the entire repair lifecycle. So let's take a look at what My Automate can do. Lisa is experiencing a rattling noise in her engine when she accelerates. I didn't hit it twice. She uses My Automate to manage her vehicle, and you'll notice here that she can add repair records, click on the record to see educational materials that empower her. In this case, she wants to get more information about the problem before taking it to a mechanic. So you'll see here she can enter a question, and you'll notice on the right, as the system diagnoses the problem, it creates a report that clearly states the issue for the mechanic and gives advice. So on the left, it's giving advice, and though it can give step-by-step instructions for easy repairs, in this case, it recommends taking it to a mechanic for diagnostics. If Lisa decides she wants to take it to a mechanic, she can click on Find Mechanic. Oh, first she can get a time estimate for the job and get to the library of curated content for the problem. If she decides she wants to take it to a mechanic, she can click on Find Mechanic, and the system will give her a curated list of trusted mechanics. Notice these are not shops, but specific mechanic profiles. So she's going to use Mike Mechanic, and this takes her to his profile, and she sees he's worked on Fords and Chevrolets and done about 349 engine repairs. So she's going to use Mike and submit the issue. On the other end, Mike is the owner of an independent shop and spends a lot of time on the phone with clients. My Automate reduces this time. He can see his incoming work from Lisa and schedule it. He can look at active work from John Doe, such as his brakes, and get a checklist for the repairs using generative AI. So here he's asking a question. You'll see on the right, it recommends the tools needed and the parts. He can also upload photos for his clients. You'll see as soon as he uploads the photo, generative AI and image recognition will recommend a repair, and he can choose to submit it to the client for approval. On the right, Mike has access to a tribe where he can network and chat with other mechanics and schedule training. Back to Lisa, and you'll see that she has a new record in her app, completing the full repair lifecycle. So we believe the total addressable market is around $6.3 billion, and we can capture about $631 million of that by providing leads and networks for independent mechanic shops and mechanics. And for owners, we would provide EHRs and diagnostics. In conclusion, My Automate levels the playing field for independent mechanics, creates a digital platform for networking and sharing knowledge, gives vehicle owners confidence, and brokers trust between mechanics and owners. And this is just the beginning. We feel there are additional revenue earnings features to be yet explored, and that this model can work in other industries. Thank you.
I love this idea, and the many reasons I love it, and many reasons I like what you've done. You've thought about the entire market, and in these types of markets, there's a lot of complexities. And what you've done is you haven't just brought the market together. You've also you've helped the market navigate those complexities. What other markets do you think this might be applicable to?
Anything from like hairdressers to general contractors, anything where it's a trade labor. My guidance was, would this person use LinkedIn? And often like a mechanic or a general contractor is not necessarily going to use something like LinkedIn, which is very business oriented. So this is kind of LinkedIn-ish for the trades.
So it's very timely. Believe it or not, my car is in the shop, so I can most certainly use that. But the question I have is, how do you assess the accuracy, and how do you use a feedback loop kind of thing to make sure that this is actually helping, and if it's not, it continues to improve?
That's a great question. So we've gotten accurate results with the generative AI. But certainly we would have a button at the end that would say, did this fix work? Certainly, diagnosing a car issue can be very complex. And so obviously we can't guarantee results. So having a feedback loop where we say, did this solve the problem? Another piece that we were going to put in, but we didn't have time, was pulling information from forums and just using sentiment analysis to pull out the this solved my problem, and giving general feedback like that. So it'll constantly be learning.
I'll be more than happy to sign up to be a beta tester.
Ditto.
Do you have time or?
We're at time. Okay.
Thank you, Lee. It's one of the few New Yorkers with a car. I'm very intrigued by that. Love it. Okay, next up, from Dream Kiddo, we have Winston and Armand. Winston and Armand, take the stage for your 4 minutes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Winston. I'm a product manager.
Hi, I'm Armand from Dream Kiddo. I flew all the way from Berlin just to be here to tell you today about Dream Kiddo, which is the world's first generative AI storyteller that writes, narrates, and illustrates children's books specifically for kids in a hospital setting. Now, these are stories of courage, bravery, learning, growth. And what Dream Kiddo does, it's a fully functional iPad app that you can use today, by the way. Please join us in the booth downstairs. What it does is it interviews medical conditions with metaphors and creates unique stories for kids to help them cope with the stress of hospitalization. And nice, did we not start? No. Back, back, two back. No, press back twice. Press back twice. Back twice. Okay, let's see. Hope it's gonna work. We wanted to show you the iPad app in operation. And yes, perfect. So this is the first screen that you see. The goal is to create a story specifically for a kid. What you do is you fill a profile. This time we got Jack, 6 years old, a boy with asthma, trying to battle asthma. Now, what is better than to bring sidekicks into the story? So you have friends, Tina, Armand, Winston, and family members that you can choose from to be in your story. Aunt Jane and Uncle Bob will be featured in the story. And what we do is we take this information and set it through a list of themes. Gorgeous, beautiful graphics, all generated with AI. Dreamy Seascape, Timeless Palace, Candy Canyon is what we're gonna pick. So this is gonna be a story in Candy Canyon. And now you pick the character that Jack will play, will portray in the story. We have beautiful characters for each setting, and this time we're going to pick Sugar Plum Scout. And now you pick the sidekick in the story, and Jane will join us. And it takes a couple of minutes to generate a beautiful story for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Armand. So if you've been around long enough, you've probably been admitted to the hospital at least once in your life. If you're anything like me, growing up with severe asthma, you've been admitted more often than you'd like. The sights, the smell, the sounds, everything around you, the uncertainty leaves an unexpected experience, one that could have a lasting effect. In the US, 2 million children are admitted to hospital each year. Of those, 3/4 are unplanned admissions. Going to the hospital for a child is a scary experience. It's one that leaves them uncertainty, away from their families and friends, and puts them into a hospital setting that's cold, intrusive, and takes them away from what they want. Dream Kiddo weaves together extremely personalized stories, putting together ideas and concepts that interweaves your medical condition, your medical records, and stories about yourself in order to allow these children to respite for, even if it's a minute, while they're in the hospital. I'm going to jump right into the story.
There was a bright and bubbly boy named Jack, known to his candy kingdom as the Sugar Plum Scout. Jack had twinkling eyes full of curiosity that were always eager to explore new frontiers of Candy Canyon. But Jack had a fast, fluttery dragon called Asthma that sometimes made it hard for him to breathe. Every now and then, asthma would flare up and Jack's chest would tighten like the stickiest of toffee. But Jack was a brave scout and never let this dragon slow him down. He was determined to taste every sweet delight the canyon had to offer. He always had Aunt Jane by his side, his trusty sweet maker who would help him on his quests.
So you can see it's a beautiful, rich story. Amazing imagery, everything generated by AI, the text, the narration, and the images. It weaves in his Aunt Jane, the metaphors about who he is, the conditions he's facing, the metaphors in terms of the asthma, and Jack being the dragon. And then it teaches him, goes through stories of teaching him how to deal with it. The wisdom, patience, courage, and everything along those lines. And you go through the full story arc, and you get to the end, where now you have a child in a hospital setting, understanding that the condition that they're facing today isn't forever, that they can persevere and they can get through it. And that's the end of our story.
There are so many stories these days about how Gen AI is something that you have to worry about and it's negative, etc. And this is a very classic example where you're using Gen AI to drive happiness, peace of mind, and a sense of connection. So kudos to you. This is a fantastic idea. A question I had was, what do you see yourself at some point even allowing the kid to describe the hero in the story and actually create the hero real time for the person?
Yeah, well, 100%. So these stories are actually generated on the fly. It takes about 3 minutes for a story to be generated from the time you input the information all the way through to the very end. It was through using a system of API calls and our database. So you can actually do this on the fly. Where we see this is beyond healthcare. It's not just stories. If you think about Dream Kiddo essentially is a story engine. A story engine that could be used for any age, any genre. It could be extended beyond healthcare. It could go into an educational setting where you're teaching children about different concepts, how to be creative in a school setting, or it can be a personalized story for someone who you love. We think we can take it and build it out to be like that story generating book for anything and anyone.
Yeah, what I love about this, and we sometimes find that with AI hackathon experiments like this one, but this to me is taking it to the next level. I never thought about, we've had over recent times an explosion in content, and we talked about personalization of content. Personalization of content typically is just having a good news feed, right? That tries to predict between what will make you money from ads to what you kind of want to read. This is productizing content to make it to as personalized as can be for you to achieve a particular outcome that can be even in the realm of healthcare. That's kind of mind-bending and opening up a lot of opportunities for what the future of content could be. So like you said, yes, we're concerned about generative AI going into the world of creative because we thought that that would be kind of protected from the realm of computers. But in a way, this is LLMs that are based on everything that humans wrote, but in a way that can be as if someone wrote a story just for you to make you feel better or address a particular need. Really interesting, the type of maybe even industries that could be built on top of a concept like this one. I wonder if you have more thoughts about the applicability beyond this use case.
This is mind-bending for us. Not sure where we can apply it, or like, what can we not apply it to? Practically everything. We have thought of starting YouTube channels with this. You know, generate stories, put it out there. Do choose your own adventure books, and as you said, like describe the characters so that you're in it, like in the flesh. For adults, for different settings, and we're gonna keep building on this. You can sign up for a beta at dreamkit.ai. The webpage is live, and if you come downstairs to the A.Team booth, we're gonna give you a personal story for a kid in your life, and we're gonna email you the story next week.
Joe, I heard you had a kid just to be able to beta test it, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I have a
That's
6.5-month-old at home, so I'm definitely going to do this. Half of what I see on Midjourney is just dads up at 2 o'clock in the morning making custom children's books, so this definitely hits home for me. Okay, last but not least, we have Angela Wu presenting Jura. Angela, take it away.
Hi, everyone. How are you enjoying Tech Chicago? Tech Week Chicago? Tech Chicago Week? I'm here on behalf of my hackathon team, who is all around the nation, to present to you what we built in our 2-day hackathon. Let's see really quick. Cool. We built... That's me. Cool. We built Jura, a revolutionary tool that uses generative AI to fundamentally transform the way that claims are processed in insurance companies. So could you please raise your hand if you have ever filed or requested for insurance coverage? So whether it's car, home, rental, healthcare. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Something that most of us have done. In fact, sadly, one of our own teammates got hit by a truck and couldn't walk for a whole year. And so he had to recently go through this claims process, and it was not fun. So luckily, we built Jura to help make this process much faster and much more accurate so that payouts can reach insured people who need it much sooner. It also is very great for the insurance industry. Insurance claims payouts make up 70% of all costs for insurance companies. A recent McKinsey study shows that generative AI tools, including just like Jura, can add $50 to $70 billion of value annually to the insurance industry. You may not know after you filed that claim where it goes. Well, there's this very important role in insurance companies called the adjuster or adjudicator. This job is very crucial because the adjudicator has to review all of the documents and analyze all the ins and outs to decide how much to pay out in each case. And if you look at the green dots here, that's the portion that Jura can help with. And typically, they would spend 4 to 12 hours pouring through all these documents. But with Jura, that whole process becomes near real time. So let me show you how. These are some excerpts from our live demo from our hackathon. So here we're uploading, let me make sure it's going. Okay, here we're uploading a police report and a medical progress report from a car accident. With a framework called LangChain, you could upload hundreds of documents, and they'd all be processed in under a minute, like that on the right. And so what's happening on the right side? Lots of code. Let me explain. We parse the text from the whole amount of documents. We pass it to GPT to identify the most important or relevant information, which in this case would be information relevant to medical billing. And then we pass that information to a service called AWS Medical Comprehend. So let me show you what that is. AWS Medical Comprehend uses natural language processing and classification, these are machine learning techniques in case you haven't used them, to extract more medical insights and deduce ICD-10 codes, which are an international standard for medical codes to describe medical conditions. Then we take the insights and the codes and we combine them and we pass them back to GPT, which generates an enhanced summary that you can see on the left. Oh, that is how AWS Medical Comprehend works. And you see the output of our demo is on the left here. So you can see in the fourth column, so not only is there a very simple to read explanation for the adjudicator that saved them the 4 to 12 hours of time, it also provides the justification for the recommended information and tells you what page on the documents the citations were found, as well as exact quotes. And we can also make a timeline of all the events that happened throughout the documents to give the adjudicator a full picture of what's going on. So we used multiple cycles of generative AI to really unlock its power for the adjuster, saving them hours and fundamentally changing the job so they can focus on the hardest and most human part of their job, which is making judgments and making the best decisions. Jura empowers insurance companies to save and reinvest their time and revenue, and also improves customer satisfaction. People's lives and health are on the line, and Jura makes the whole process faster and fairer. So that's a win-win for everyone. And if you're wondering how we did this in 2 days, it's our stellar team, Henry, Hassan, Pedro, yours truly, guided by our mentor, Prashant, head of AI at Allstate. Combined, we have over half a century of building impactful tech products and a talent for solving big problems fast. So it's been a pleasure to work with this team to bring you Jura. Thanks for listening, and happy to answer any questions.
Is there anyone here with experience in insurance, by any chance, on the panel? No, but actually, I have a serious question for the insurance folks, which is, there have been attempts with companies like Lemonade and others to elevate the customer experience, because overall insurance it's a hard experience, particularly when you get to the claim process. But tell me if I'm wrong. Is this something that you see as potentially relevant to take the claim experience to the next level? Is it a technology problem? Is it something else?
I think it's interesting because anything that takes effort away from either the claimant, the people who are applying for it, the policyholder, or the insurance company to make the process and judgment faster, it's really helpful. I think there's a part that Angela left out that I'm going to add. In addition to somebody on the team going through the experience, Henry is not just an innovator, an architect, but he also had medical training.
Yes.
So I always focus on the source of inspiration, and they had all the key ingredients from somebody who's a doctor, a technologist, somebody who went through the experience, and I'll also highlight the research the team did on their own. So while they'll like to give me credit, they came with the idea, I would say 98% ready-made. So great work.
I'm really, this fits into the category of operations automation or operations acceleration that I think Gen AI can play a huge role in, especially in very specialized roles, like an adjudicator. I don't know what you need to do to be an adjudicator. Is anyone an adjudicator? No, neither am I. But you are. That's impressive. Oh, you're not. Okay. You know an adjudicator. I've played one on TV.
Well, you should all know now because I showed
it's highly
you.
complex, and this is a huge accelerant for not just the adjudicator, but the insurance company. As you start to imagine other really complex workflows or challenging workflows that take a lot of time that really no one wants to do, it's just we have to do it. What are others that jump to mind?
Yeah, actually, Prashant sent me this McKinsey article that I cited earlier. It's like all the industries, and between like 1 to 10% of the revenue can be like increased 1 to 10% by generative AI is their estimate. But I think it's like you said, anything with like large amounts of information, documents, and I mean, I could name industries, but I think almost every industry has a lot of roles like that. Particularly, like you said, in the operations of a company. In addition to the 70% that comes from claims payouts, actually 10% of, well, I looked at Allstate, but like large insurance companies, 10% of their expenses come from operations expenses. So if you could cut out I don't want to say what percentage, but a large portion of that, I think that would affect any industry with yeah.
I have a quick question. So in addition to insurance, other industries you're interested in?
Sorry, what?
Other industries that you think it will apply?
Yeah, I literally think every single industry. That's why I'm not sure how to answer. So I mean, well, like healthcare. I think like every industry can be affected by this.
Thank you. Okay, it is time to vote. So I want everyone to text vote to this number, 207-776-7727. You'll get the options of our 4 teams, Get Mentor, My Automate, Dream Kiddo, and Jora. And I'm going to see the votes come in real time on my handy laptop here, assuming the internet doesn't go out. But in the meantime, Dolphins, do you have any last-minute commentary as we wait for the votes to come in?
Yeah, absolutely. I love, piggybacking on what you said, I think there's been, like all of us are trying to think about generative AI and trying to consider what it means for us, what it means for me as a professional, as a person. For some people, is what it means for me as a parent with my children. Clearly, we've seen that even if you tell them to go work at a garage, it is not going to protect them from Gen AI taking over. But of course, at companies as well. Love the fact that we could see here use cases both for operational efficiency and kind of changing the game of what happens behind the scenes, and in terms of taking customer experience to the absolute next level of personalization so that things are really done for you. So really, really appreciate that, and that gives us a lot to think about.
I think when I saw all the 4 cases, I think one thought that came to mind is generative AI is going to drive this effort towards democratizing information even more. The internet did that. Now generative AI is going to do it even more. Drive more transparency, drive a lot more empowerment, and drive a lot of engagement. And that's what I saw across these 4 use cases. And that's the power of Gen AI. It's going to change the world just like the internet did 20 years ago. Kudos to the teams.
All right, we have about a minute left on stage, so we're going to wrap up voting. I've heard from a couple people up front that it's not working, but it is working for a lot of folks, so maybe try voting in all caps, although any capitalization should work. It could be the reception in here, because we have like 5,000 people in one little area at the end of a pier over the water, which is honestly probably not the best setup to do a text-to-vote system. But you know what? We're doing it anyway. So put on your VC hat. Think about the best commercial application, the one that you would invest in. And I will close it in about 5 seconds and announce our winner. All right, we've got a pretty big margin here, so I think I'm ready. Can I get a drum roll? And the winner is Dream Kiddo! Winston, Armand, come on stage. Guys, congratulations. Any last words to the crowd?
No, thank you. Meet us downstairs. We have the app in fully functional, ready to go. If you want a story generated for yourselves, just meet us downstairs and we'll get one going for you.
All right, congratulations to all of our teams. Such incredible inventions that they've presented here today. A big round of applause finally to all 4 of our teams. And let's enjoy the next talk. It's the most inclusive tech hub in the world, Chicago's opportunity.